Let's start with the accounting cycle. Okay, so you are familiar with this accounting cycle and you have done already journalizing because this is our topic. We have used general journal in the preparation of journal entries. So the discussion will focus on still journalizing, but this time using special journals. Okay, so that will be our topic for this lecture. Okay, let's move on. So, special journals. Special journals are used by businesses with large volume of transactions for the following advantages. First, time saving. Time saving in terms of journalizing and posting. We will illustrate that later. Next, division of labor and defining responsibilities, meaning we can distribute the recording to several employees by the use of special journals. And next, minimize errors. So we can minimize errors by using special journals. Special journals, okay, are normally designed based on major transactions of businesses. And we will discuss the most common segregation or of special journals based on major transactions. And we will illustrate that, okay? So this is our general journal. We have learned how to do the journal entries using the general journal. Now we are going to segregate this general journal into several journals, and we will call that special journals, and the segregation will be based on major transactions. But in segregating it, the general journal, let us first take a look of the parties to the transactions, to the business transactions. We have discussed that the parties are the owner, the bank, the vendor or supplier, the employees, landlord, tenant, landlord agencies, and the other one, the last one is customers. Okay. Among these parties, okay, the bulk of the transactions that we have already discussed is with suppliers and vendors and with customers. So we will segregate that by first the transactions with the vendors and suppliers. Ano ba ang transaction natin sa vendor tsaka sa supplier? The first is we are purchasing from suppliers on account. On this class, on the segregation, we will only segregate those purchases from suppliers on account. Kasi it is a common practice that basta you already have established good business relationship, normally yung mga purchases mo sa supplier will already be on account or on credit na. Okay? Kasi nakapag-establish ka na ng business relationship. Okay? So class, all the purchases from suppliers on account will be recorded in what you call purchase journal. So this is one of the special journals, purchase journal. So yung purchase journal, i-record lahat ng mga purchases from suppliers on account. The document that you are going to use to record this transaction will be the voucher payable or the check voucher. So lahat ng voucher payable, or you call it check voucher also, will be recorded in the purchase journal. So ano pa yung transaction natin sa vendor at sa supplier? Dahil binili natin to on account, then we have to pay the suppliers. So lahat ng payment natin sa supplier will be segregated and will be recorded in what you call disbursement journal. You can also call that cash payment journal or check payment journal, okay, or payment journal, okay. So the reference in recording the transaction in the disbursement journal will be pinag-aralan na natin yan, will be the check. So all checks will be recorded in the disbursement journal, okay. So the other um, segregation would be with customers. Okay? So yung customers natin, ano ang meron tayong transaction? We are selling on account to our customers. And then the sales on account to our customers will be recorded in what you call the sales journal. Yung sales journal natin, okay, will be used to record all sales to customers on account. And the document that will be used for that will be the sales invoice. Okay? So ang sales invoice natin are issued to all customers on account. Okay? Lahat ng sales invoice natin are on account, and this sales transactions on account will be recorded in sales journal. And of course, if we are selling on account, then we have to collect the account and the customer has to pay the account. So we will be receiving cash from customers, and that receipt of cash will be recorded in what you call cash receipt journal. So the cash receipt journal, the basis of recording in the cash receipt journal is the official receipt, or also what you call cash receipt. So by the way, class, in practice, yung cash receipt journal natin, okay, lahat ng in whatever source, uh, we are documenting all the receipt of cash by the official receipt. Kaya yung official receipt, lahat ng in-issue nating official receipt will be recorded in what you call cash receipt journal. But the bulk of the receipt of cash are coming from our customers. Okay? However, there are still transactions. Okay, we have segregated the bulk of the transactions. Okay, however, there will still be transactions with owner banks, and AJE will stands for Adjusting Journal Entry. Hindi pa natin na-discuss to. Anyways, just to for you to learn it, that the transactions with owner banks and all adjusting journal entries will still be recorded in general journal. Okay? And the document that will be used to record these transactions will be what you call journal voucher. Okay? So in effect, class, we have 5 books: the purchase journal, the disbursement journal, the sales journal, and cash receipt journal, plus the general journal. Okay, let's move on. Let's now summarize the documents, okay, and in relation to the special journal. So we have the payable voucher or the check voucher. And this payable voucher, as we have learned, is used to record purchases from supplier on account. And this payable voucher, the entry will be we debit what we have purchased and credit accounts payable, because payable voucher establishes the propriety of the payable. Okay, or we can also use the payable voucher in other purchases, if you purchase equipment, or in recording expenses. Okay, and all of this, the payable voucher will be recorded in purchase journal. Okay, for check is used to record payment to supplier, and the entry for the check is the payment of the accounts payable and credit cash in bank. And this check is recorded in disbursement journal. Okay, another document is sales invoice, and sales invoice is used to record the sales to customers on account. And then we have the sales invoice, because it's on account. The entry is debit accounts receivable and credit sales. And sales invoice is recorded in sales journal. And next document is official receipt. Official receipt or cash receipt is issued to acknowledge and record the receipt of cash. And the entry will be debit cash and credit accounts receivable. And official receipt is recorded in cash receipt journal. Okay? And we will also maintain a general journal, and the general journal will now be used only for transactions with owner banks and adjusting journal entries. Okay? Ito na lang yung transactions matitira na i-record sa general journal. And the document that will be used is the journal voucher. Okay. Sinamarize lang natin yung ating mga documents, linking those documents with our special journals. Let's have illustrations. The difference in recording financial transactions between general journal with special journals. Ano yung mga differences? Okay, so let's take a look of general journal versus purchase journal. Sa general journal natin, kung ganito yung transactions natin, okay? These are our transactions. And the way we will record this in the general journal is every transaction like May 1st. Bought inventory from Gold Company 30,000 per invoice number 5800, payable voucher 104. So we will be using payable voucher. Same then. Basta na-record natin sa general journal, ganito ang magiging transaction natin. Okay? Using payable voucher 104. So we debit purchases 30,000, we credit accounts payable 30,000. Doing that for May 3 and May 8, ganito yung ating magiging journal entry. Okay? Yan sa general journal. Now, paano naman if we are going to use the purchase journal? So let's take a look. Again, sa general journal, ito yung naging transaction natin on the previous slide. And now, ito yung naging entry natin under general journal. And now, purchase journal. So, if we are going to use purchase journal, the purchase journal is more of columnar book. Okay? Yung columnar book yan. And then, each column will have its own information. And the standard information will be the date, the reference of recording, which in this case, dahil purchase journal yan, yung payable voucher number. And the supplier, okay, the reference number, and normally this is the invoice number of the supplier. And what we have debit, and considering that we are purchasing on account, our debit will be the items that we are purchasing. So we debit the purchases. And we credit, okay, because this is a purchase account. Anong credit natin? Accounts payable, okay? So yan ang pinaka-normal natin na entry. We debit purchases and credit accounts payable, like what we have done on the general journal. We debit purchases and credit accounts payable, but in special journal, it is on a columnar format. Okay. But there can be other debits, meaning meron tayong biniling iba other than purchases account. Meron tayong biniling iba, and we can call that sundry. Okay, and the sundry can be divided into two columns, which is the amount and the account. Kung ano yung amount and then the account. Okay. So in this case, in May 1st, okay, the way we are going to record this transaction will be the date is May 1 and the reference of recording is APV 104. By the way, APV, we can also use that accounts payable voucher or just simply payable voucher. They are synonymous. So 104, and then supplier is Gold Company. The reference number is the invoice 5800, and then debit 30,000 and credit accounts payable 30,000. So ganito ang recording sa special journal. It's more of a columnar recording, okay? So if doing that for May 3 and May 8, ganito ang ating magiging recording. Okay? And for May 8, okay. On May 8, it's a purchase of equipment from cruise company of 11,000. So we will not put that under purchases because we are not using purchase account. So the entry will be debit equipment of 11,000 and credit accounts payable of 11,000. So ganito ang magiging recording sa purchase journal noong transaction on May 8. Okay? So let's move on. Now, general journal versus disbursement journal. Ito yung transactions natin. We have May 10, issued check for 5/6 of 20,000 as payment to Gold Company. 20,000 PV104. Okay? Okay, so if we are going to record this in general journal, ganito magiging recording natin. We debit accounts payable, credit cash in bank 20,000, and this will be the information. And then for May 15, ganito ang magiging entry natin. For May 17, ganito ang magiging entry natin. Okay? You take note that we all debited accounts payable and credit cash in bank kasi nag-issue tayo ng check. And kung gagamitin natin ang disbursement journal instead of general journal, sa general journal natin, ganito naging entry natin. But if we are going to use the disbursement journal, again, the disbursement journal is in a columnar book, like a columnar presentation. We have the date, we have the check number. Kung ano yung basis of recording mo, then that will be the first the second information that you have to put after the date. Okay? The check number, sino yung binayaran mo, payee is sino yung binayaran mo, the reference number, and the debit. So the debit is basically your accounts payable. Okay? And what will be your credit? Your credit will be your cash in bank. Okay? However, maaring there can be situations na hindi lang accounts payable yung nabayaran na pwede mong i-record sa disbursement journal. So in this case, you will have again sundry, and that will be your debit and the account. Okay. So how are we going to record the transaction? The above
It's
transactions
8 o'clock.
in the disbursement journal. So for May 10, you put the date. So the reference number will be the check number, which in this case, check number 456. And the payee is Gold Company, reference number PB104, meaning ito yung payable voucher na binayaran mo. You debit 20,000, okay, and credit cash of 20,000. For May 15, ito ang magiging record ng ating disbursement journal. And May 17, ito ang ating record ng disbursement journal. Take note, class. Dahil ang basis ng recorder mo is check number, you have to make sure that you are recording the check number in sequence or chronologically. Dapat walang namimiss dyan para to make sure na nare-record mo lahat. Ang sinusunod mong series is the check number. Okay? So take note na we don't have to, siyempre hindi naman natin sinusunod yung PV number na hindi naman to nagiging basis natin, but rather the check number the checks on the recording in the disbursement journal. Okay? Now let's take a look of how are we going to record in the sales journal. So if these are our transactions in the if these are our transactions for sales, then we will record these transactions in the general journal like this. We will debit accounts receivable and credit sales. So if we will be using this sales journal, similarly, sales journal will be in a columnar format wherein you have the date, then here the sales invoice number, and it is more simplified, the customer, and then basically we only have one debit, which is accounts receivable, and one credit, which is sales. Okay? So in this case, if we were going to record the May 5 transactions, May 5, sales invoice 3055, customer X, then debit 10,000 and credit 10,000. And for May 7 and 10, this will be our record. Okay? Okay. And now, class, let's take a look of the recording on cash receipt journal. So if these are our transactions, okay, for the general journal, we will be recording this. May 20, collected 25,000. So we debit cash of 25,000 and credit accounts receivable. May 24, this will be our entry, and May 25, this will be our entry. Okay. And now if we are going to use the cash receipt journal, so this is our general journal entry. And for cash receipt, similarly, it is in a columnar format, and each column has its own information. We have the date. Considering that this is cash receipt journal, the basis of our recording is the OR, okay, or the cash receipt document. And we have OR number, who made the payment, and the reference number, and then the debit is what? Because we are receiving cash, so our debit is cash in bank, okay, or cash, okay. And our credit is what? Okay, our credit can be basically our accounts receivable. But in receiving cash, it may not only be accounts receivable, so we can credit other accounts, okay? Which is one of the accounts that we can credit is sales, meaning that the cash that we receive is from cash sales, or the cash that we receive is payment from accounts receivable. So we debit cash and we can credit accounts receivable as payment of their account, or for cash sales, we can credit sales. And there can be certain receipt of cash not related to accounts receivable and sales, so we will have a sundry. There can be, for example, we have dispose old equipment, so instead of crediting sales, we can credit other accounts. So in this illustration on May 20, this is how are we going to record this, okay? May 20, so the reference will be the OR number, which is 257, paid by customer Y, and reference 3056, this is the invoice that was paid. We debit cash of 25,000 and credit accounts receivable of 25,000. So if we will record the other transactions, this is how it will be recorded, okay? On May 25th, okay, from X, okay, we received cash of 5,000. However, this is not an accounts receivable, but it is a cash sales. So we credit sales, okay? Okay, so this is how we are going to record